Hello Professor, my name is Carl Crook and I'm going to show you my final project. I'm just going to walk through the game specification list pointing out everything I have and don't have. So for the select screen at the top it shows the high score, then the points for each type of alien comes up, and then when you press space it's going to take you to the 1 or 2 player selection. At the bottom there's a credit, but it doesn't do anything for the game. If I hit 1 it's going to take me to a 1 player game and it's going to prompt me for player 1, the score flashes, and if I hit space at this point it's going to take me into the game. So now in game we have the little player icon on the bottom, middle bottom, and if I want to move left and right I use the left and right keys. If I want to fire a missile I hit space. In the bottom left corner I have the number of lives I have left, so I have 2 extra lives plus the life I have currently, so that's 3 in total. For collisions I can shoot an alien, I could shoot a UFO. I could also zap my own shield. Shooting a little bit more aliens. There's going to be a collision with the top screen in a second. Let me just see. There we go, top screen. And then we can also have a collision with an alien bomb, which I'm going to show in a second. There we go. The player can fire 1 missile at a time. When a collision happens, they could fire the next one. You could see that if you hold down the space key. The missile also makes its own sound when it's fired. When the player gets hit by an alien missile, they lose a life, as shown in the bottom left. So now they have 1 extra life available, plus this one, so they have 2 lives. They got hit again. They have 0 extra lives in the current life, so they only have 1 more life left. When they get hit again, it's going to be a game over. And when the UFO spawns, that's when we'll get hit by missile 1 more time. And there we go. Game over. This is the game over screen. It's going to update our high score since it's a new high score. Then it takes us back to the select screen. From the select screen we could go back to choosing between 1 or 2 players. And this time we're going to do 2 players to show cycling between 1 and 2. And in the last game I showed you the player dying 3 times. So for each game you start off with 4 shields on the screen. If you press T on the keyboard you can see all the hitboxes, although for me the hitboxes lags the game a little. As you can see, things seem a little slower. But when aliens shoot missiles it can hit the shield and be stopped. I can also shoot out the shield myself. I could clear away the whole shield, drill holes in the shield, and you'll see the hitboxes will update to reflect that that shield is gone. As you notice, I don't have the dissolve effect on the shield. It was just I got a lot of assertion errors dealing with like deleting at the end of a level and stuff. So I just left that out. The UFO will spawn between 3 and 20 seconds each time, randomly. It moves from right to left and left to right, back and forth in that order. There was a post saying that the UFO, it's not required that the UFO fires a missile, but in my run I just left it in. It's going to fire a missile randomly somewhere each time it's on screen. When it's flying it plays the really annoying sound. I had footage earlier where I shot a UFO and it destroyed and it played a special UFO destruction sound. So it's going to give either 50, 100 or 150 points. Player 1 cleared all the aliens, so now it's player's 2 turn. For player 2, they have their own match, and when they zap the aliens, they're going to get scores under score 2. I'm just going to get hit by an alien missile real quick, just to switch back to player 1. There. For each game, a player can complete 2 levels before they get returned back to the select screen. In the second level, the aliens begin about 1 row lower than from round 1, and they move, and their initial speed is 50% faster than from the first round's initial speed. For missiles and bombs, the player can fire 1 missile at a time. If you hold on the space key, you'll see the UFO can fire 1 missile when it's on screen. And for the aliens, they fire missiles, but the same alien can fire twice in a row. When it comes to fire, the code will be a random column will fire the missile. There's no code that says which column or alien fired before it. A few seconds ago, we saw the zigzag and dagger bombs. I think that was the rolling bomb just there. All 3 are animated. Player 1 just won both levels, so now we're just going to stick with player 2 until they either win or game over. Now for sounds, we heard all of them already, but just to point them out. When the aliens march, It cycles through the 4 sounds, and the more aliens you zap away, the faster the marching cycle sounds will go through. Other sounds, when you fire a missile, it makes its own sound. When you hit an alien, it makes its own special sound when you collide with the alien. When there was a game over, there was a special ship explosion sound. Here's a UFO sound. When a match starts, you begin with a 5x11 alien grid. Top row is squids, then followed by the crabs, followed by the octopus. The grid moves left and right all the way to the screen edges. Once it hits the screen edges, the grid will move down a bit, getting closer to the player. The aliens cycle through their 2 animations. All the animations change together, and the more aliens the player zaps away, the faster the aliens will move, and the animation will go faster. When aliens are deleted, it updates the grid's hitbox accordingly. When the outside columns are destroyed, the movement from left to right has a bigger range. The aliens can fire missiles. They spawn from the bottommost alien in a certain column. They can fire the 3 different kinds of bombs, as I detailed a bit earlier. The player can shoot an alien and get rid of them. The player gets 10 points for shooting an octopus, 20 points for shooting a crab, and 30 points for shooting a squid. At the end, the points are checked up against the high score. If it's a new high score, it will get updated, and it also still shows both players' scores until you start a new match. So I talked about everything off the PDF under the game specification section. Now I just want to show more gameplay footage of the 2-player match, showing the player's game over, talk a little bit more about the 2-player match, and just talk a little bit more in general about my project. I'm gonna speed up my gameplay footage a bit, and I'll slow it back down to normal when there's something I want to point out about it. The most difficult part with finalizing everything with the scenes and making the whole game work was handling deletions. I went with the approach of a ghost list in the Game Object Manager to switch and store the data between players 1 and 2. And I also, instead of deleting game objects immediately, I mark them for deletion and delete at a later point with the deletion manager. By doing this, I got a lot of assertion errors when a player would win or lose a life, and then we had to switch to the other player in a 2-player game. It was cause deleting would be done on the active list, but the object to delete was already put on the ghost list. So it was just all a mess dealing with it towards the end. Also, with the timer events to spawn and delete explosions, it will cause a lot of assertion errors deleting the explosion when it wasn't on the active list anymore. In fact, if you go to 330, when the last alien is zapped, I don't create an explosion effect because I get an assertion error that I can't solve. I didn't add the dissolve effect on the shields because I was facing similar issues. Now to just talk a little bit more about game over scenarios. As the aliens come close, they can erode your shield themselves completely. That one shot me. Switching back to player 1. Just really quickly, let's clear this off. There we go. And then back to player 2. When the alien hits the ship itself, it's an automatic game over, regardless of how many lives they had. And it's also the same case if the alien touches the bottom line, the bottom wall of the game. It's an immediate game over, regardless how many lives there was. Now the final scores is not bigger than the high score, so the high score won't get updated. And that's my whole project. I hope you enjoyed watching.